Hey there, Gemini. Here's your weekly horoscope for February 28 to March 6. Well, I believe for Gemini, the last couple of weeks, I was talking about a lot of positive new breaks and opportunities and changes coming your way. And I think that will continue as well this week. However, there's a few difficult aspects that may be affecting you. So let's cover those first. The sun is in Pisces and it is going to be squaring the moon's nodes from Wednesday on. The moon's nodes are basically a calculated point in the horoscope for everybody. They're unique to everybody. But from a mundane astrology sense, which is what I do here with these weekly horoscopes, it's not the very best placement. The sun represents yourself, your ego, what your personal needs are. And in a challenging aspect to the moon's nodes, sometimes it brings up, well, if you created some bad karma in the past, sometimes it comes back to land on your doorstep. Sometimes it is past life information or situations that come back. Sometimes it's this present life, some of your past coming back to haunt you, we'll say. Now, that's one potentiality that may not occur for everybody, of course. But what it does do is it does sometimes indicate that you're not feeling so great about yourself this week with this aspect, in particular from Wednesday on. Until then, it's not so bad, perhaps. But it is a good idea to actually, well, you know what? Explore those negative feelings or any negative situation from the past that may or may not be karmic that comes up, because in exploring those feelings, taking a look at them, analyzing them the way mutable signs do, you probably will figure out what it is that you need to do to fix any situation that's in front of you this week. Full moon in Virgo on Saturday may not have been as pleasant for Gemini as it might have been for other signs. It may have brought some situations to a head in relationships. Perhaps you had some disagreements or a fight with somebody close to you, but at least when the moon is back in Libra, basically from Sunday to Tuesday, there's opportunity for you to make amends, or at least find that there's a better balance in the relationship because of the situation that may have occurred. With Venus sextiling Uranus from Monday to Thursday, although Venus in Pisces might be a bit challenging to Gemini, especially in regards to work, sometimes there's people at work that just decide they don't like you. Gemini is one of those signs, well, you have two personalities. You're represented by the twins, so of course you may only see yourself as always being wonderful and positive, which is one side of you, or you may only see yourself as being negative and not likable and not good enough or whatever, and well, that's usually not true for everybody. We're all a little bit of both, good and bad sometimes, and it is a challenge for each one of us to figure out what is the best balance for us to be. But in my experience, I find that Gemini tends to try to do too much. Sometimes they say too much, and sometimes they're just a little too much for some people. And those people may be expressing that to you this week, or coming after you, or trying to make your life difficult. In general, Gemini's not usually that bad. They can be annoying sometimes when they talk too much or when they blurt out a secret, something they may be prone to do. And sometimes I just find they're a little too down on themselves. So, I'm often with any Gemini friends or clients saying, you really don't have to kick yourself in the pants, because believe me, there's other people in the world that will. And unfortunately, this might be a week when you run into a person or situation that is coming after you. So defend yourself as you must, but try not to get into major disputes, especially at work. And certainly don't play the martyr. It really doesn't suit your sign. Leave that to other horoscope signs, but there is a tendency with these Venus squares that we want to play the martyr or feel sorry for ourselves. That will not get you anywhere, Gemini, believe me. There are a number of good aspects going on, and let's move to those now. First of all, Jupiter and Saturn, both in an Aquarius, are going to be positive for you this year, almost the whole year. Jupiter will go into Pisces for a while, and that may bring some challenges, but at least while Saturn is in Aquarius and positively aspecting Gemini for most of this year, and certainly this week, there is opportunity for you to establish new boundaries with people, and also new boundaries with yourself. Gemini is one of those signs that is ever-changing. They almost never stay exactly the same. They're always willing to evolve and change and try to be the best version of themselves that they can be, and good for you if you're doing that. Saturn actually gives you a lot of help in that regard. And in fact, you may find in this year at some point, you may decide to take some courses or seek the wisdom of an older or wiser person, or a minister, a guide, a counselor, a therapist, whatever you may need. By all means, seek help if you feel you need it, so that you get your life back on track as you would like it to be, Gemini. Neptune in Pisces may not be making very pleasant aspects to Geminis as well. I can't be sure, because that could be very unique for any individual and it's based on their unique horoscope. But I can tell you that as it is traveling through the sky this week, it's just hitting different aspects to the moon and nothing else. So again, like last week, it could be a very emotional week for a lot of people. Now for yourself, when the moon is in Sagittarius, basically from Thursday to Saturday, it's almost like you have your own mini full moon with that aspect. But it could be that conflicts or situations arise. You know, if that happened last weekend and this weekend, maybe you better find something fun to do on the weekends, Gemini, because having conflicts with people on the weekend kind of ruins it if you're a Monday to Friday worker. Now, one thing I like to see, Chiron in Aries is making softer aspects to Saturn and Uranus, which have been kind of harsh on people the last number of weeks. So with Chiron and Aries making softer aspects in the sky, what that does for you is it actually may help you take a few steps closer to bringing a dream or fantasy or something you'd like to do a lot closer to reality. That's a good thing. But what you do need to do is you perhaps need to look at some of your inner woundedness first and see, is there something I can do to change or make things better for me based on processing some of your emotions and feelings? You know, you do tend to be more in the head and less in the heart sometimes, Gemini, but that doesn't mean you don't have feelings. It's just that sometimes you don't even understand your own feelings, so you get a little frightened of them and you avoid them. Or in other cases, it's just too much. You just put out too much there with people, and it's like, wow, I can't handle all that. Also, sometimes you hold it in for a long time, and then it just comes gushing out like a volcano. So try to think about balancing your mental thoughts and your emotions this week a bit better, and I think you'll have a better go of it. Now, the good news. When Mars goes into Gemini on Thursday, when Mars is in your sun sign, it tends to give you a lot of extra drive, ambition, motivation, and energy. That's a great thing for nearly any sign. Unfortunately for Gemini, you're already driven and motivated and you have a lot of energy. So Mars in Gemini can be a little bit too much Gemini for you and for other people that have to deal with you. So keep in mind that this week especially, and for the next little while, you may be a little bit too critical, you may be a little bit too sarcastic, you may be a little bit too flippant, and you may be a little bit too pushy. So nobody usually likes to deal with those kinds of things. So do be careful and remember to try to zip that lip a little bit if you need to this week, because you might be having confrontations and conflicts that could be avoided if you perhaps just bit your tongue a little bit more. But other than that, it is a good aspect for you to get work done. So roll up your sleeves, get ready on whatever it is that you need to do. And very likely you do have a project or something in mind that you really want to sink your teeth into and get going at. So this is the week to begin when Mars moves into Gemini. I hope you have a great week ahead, Gemini, and good luck.